2018년 4월 현재 전 세계에 살고 있는 유대인들의 숫자가 약 1,430만 명 정도 된다고 하는데요. 그 중에서도 43% 884만 명 정도가 현재 이스라엘에서 살고 있다고 합니다. 이 얘기는 현재 이스라엘에서 살고 있는 유대인들보다 외국에서 살고 있는 유대인들의 숫자가 더 많다는 얘기죠. 1948년 이스라엘이 건국할 때 당시만 해도 이스라엘에 있는 유대인들의 인구 숫자는 약 80만 명 정도였다고 하는데, 그로부터 70년이 지난 지금 그 숫자가 10배나 늘어났으니까 엄청난 인구 증가가 된 셈이죠. 이 배경에는 전 세계에 흩어져 살고 있는 유대인들이 현재 알리아라는 이름으로 계속해서 돌아오고 있기 때문입니다. 유럽뿐만 아니라 러시아, 그리고 또 아프리카, 멀리는 중국에서도 유대인들이 이스라엘로 돌아오고 있는 그런 상황인데요. 특이하게도 인도에서도 유대인들이 이스라엘로 돌아오고 있다고 합니다. 그 인도의 유대인들을 이스라엘로 데리고 오는 일들을 하고 있는 단체가 이스라엘의 샤베이 이스라엘이라고 하는 단체고요. 그 단체의 대표 되시는 분이 마이클 프로인드라는 분인데, 오늘 마이클 프로인드 대표께서 저희 브레드 TV 스튜디오를 방문해 주셨습니다. 과연 인도에 있는 유대인들이 어쩌다가 그곳까지 가게 됐는지, 그리고 그 유대인들을 어떻게 지금 이스라엘로 귀환시키고 있는지, 오늘은 좀 그런 이야기를 들어보도록 하겠습니다. 고맙습니다. 이렇게 브레드 TV 방문해 주셨어요.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here with you.
이름이 샤베이 이스라엘이라고 하는데, 샤베이 무슨 뜻입니까?
Shavei Israel is Hebrew for those who return to Israel.
인도에 유대인이 살고 있다는 것도 참 특이한 일인데요. 인도에 어떻게 유대인들이 살게 됐는지 그 배경을 좀 설명해 주시죠.
After the death of King Solomon, the people of Israel became divided. There was the northern kingdom of the 10 tribes and the southern kingdom of Judah. The Assyrian Empire, which was the superpower of the day, invaded the land of Israel 2,700 years ago, captured the northern kingdom, and sent the 10 tribes off into exile. The Bnei Menashe, or the sons of the tribe of Menashe, are descendants of one of those 10 lost tribes. They wandered for centuries until they settled in what is now the northeastern part of India.
그러면 인도에 살고 있는 유대인들이 솔로몬 왕 이후 때부터 지금까지 살고 있다면은 굉장히 오랜 시간이 흐르면서 사실은 이 현지 인도 사람들과 이렇게 피가 섞인다든가 그랬을 수도 있을 것 같은데, 그분들이 어떻게 유대인들이라고 단정 지을 수가 있죠?
So the Bnei Menashe, through great courage and great faith, did their best to hold on to their Israelite identity by continuing in the ways of their ancestors. Now, it's clear that there was some intermingling which took place, but in 2005, Israel's chief rabbi formally recognized the Bnei Menashe as descendants of Israel, as descendants of one of the 10 lost tribes of Israel.
제가 몇 년 전에 중국의 카이펑이라는 데 갔더니 거기도 역시 유대인들이 살고 있더라고요. 그런데 특이한 것은 다른 중국 사람들하고 이렇게 구분할 수 있는 것이, 그분들 집에 갔더니 대문에 다윗의 별이 그려져 있다든가, 또 뭐 문에 메노라가 붙어 있다든가, 이런 걸 통해서 여긴 유대인이 살고 있구나, 이런 것을 알 수가 있는데, 어떻습니까? 인도에 살고 있는 그 유대인들, 그 집에도 그런 어떤 표식들이 있습니까?
The first Westerners to reach that very remote part of India were the British missionaries and military officers about a century ago. They encountered the Bnei Menashe, and they were shocked to see a population in northeastern India that believed in one God, whom they referred to by the Hebrew word Yah, who kept the Sabbath, who kept kosher, and celebrated the Jewish festivals. So The Bnei Menashe never forgot who they were or where they came from, and they never forgot where they dreamt of one day returning, which was to Zion.
물론 인도에 살고 있으면서도 유대인의 절기를 지킨다든가 토라를 읽는다든가 뭐 이런 것만으로도 충분히 그들이 유대인이라고 이렇게 생각할 수는 있겠지만 그거 말고 조금 더 이렇게 구체적으로 과학적으로 그들이 진짜 유대인이다 이렇게 확정할 수 있는 방법이 있습니까?
A number of years ago, the Central Genetics Laboratory in India, which is based in Calcutta, carried out a DNA test on the Bnei Menashe. And interestingly, they found that the Bnei Menashe have certain genetic markers which indicate that their ancestors came from the Middle East, which is not what one would expect to find in a population that lives in northeastern India. So that seemingly bolstered and supported their claim to be descendants of the people of Israel, because their ancestors came from the Middle East.
그러면 그 테스트를 통해서 본인은 철석같이 유대인인 줄 알고 있었는데 테스트 결과 당신은 유대인이 아닙니다. 이런 결과가 나오는 경우도 있을 것 같아요. 또 반대로 나는 전혀 유대인일 거라고 생각 안 했는데 오히려 테스트 결과 당신이 유대인이 맞습니다. 이런 경우도 있었을 것 같아요.
It's an excellent question, and it's a complicated issue, because Jews are both a nation and a religion. We started out as a family, Jacob and his 12 sons, and we grew into a nation. But at the same time, there have been people down through history who converted to Judaism and who joined the family, so to speak. Even though biologically they were not connected to us, by undergoing a conversion, they joined the Jewish people. And so it's possible that someone may not have very much Jewish genetic ancestry, yet still be considered a Jew, because perhaps his parents or his grandparents converted to Judaism. On the other hand, and we're seeing this more and more now around the world, people taking DNA tests, and they are stunned to get the results back and to see that they have Jewish ancestry. For example, in Spain and Portugal, where there was a large Jewish community in the Middle Ages until they were expelled in the 15th century, a DNA test was carried out a decade ago, and the results were published in the American Journal of Human Genetics. And they found that 20% of the men in Spain and Portugal all have Jewish genetic ancestry. So it's clear that because of all the persecution and exile that we have endured, that there are traces or remnants of Jews all over the world.
인도에서 그렇게 DNA 테스트를 통해서 유대인인 것을 확인도 하고 본인이 또 나는 유대인이 맞다. 이런 것들이 이제 확인이 됐습니다. 그 뒤에 이스라엘로 갑시다라고 했을 때 인도 정부에서는 그렇게 순순히 잘 보내줍니까?
India is a democracy, and the Bnei Menashe, like any other Indian citizen, are free to come and go as they please. That's never been an issue. When the chief rabbi recognized the Bnei Menashe collectively as descendants of Israel, he also ruled that each member of the community, on an individual basis, should go through a conversion process to Judaism in order to remove any doubt about their status. And that, in practice, is what happens. When my organization brings Bnei Menashe to Israel, they go through a formal conversion process by the chief rabbinate, and then no one can question, no one can doubt their Jewish identity.
그러면 이스라엘 정부에서는 그렇게 인도에 있는 유대인들이 이스라엘로 돌아오는 것에 대해서 환영하는 겁니까? 아니면 정부가 직접 주도를 합니까? 아니면은 왜 자꾸 오지? 뭐 이런 분위기입니까?
The Israeli government has been extremely supportive of our efforts. If not for their support, we would not be able to bring the Bnei Menashe. And over the past 15 years, Shavei Israel has been blessed to bring more than 3,500 members of the Bnei Menashe on Aliyah, including a group of 220 people who just came to Israel in June of this year. We currently have permission from the Israeli authorities to bring another 700 Bnei Menashe to Israel in 2019. And our goal is, as soon as possible, to bring all the remaining 6,500 Bnei Menashe home to Israel.
그런데 어떤 분들은 일각에서 인도에 있는 유대인들은 진짜 유대인들이 아니다. 이렇게 얘기하는 분도 있더라고요. 그분들은 왜 그런 얘기를 하고 그런 이야기에 대해서 어떻게 또 설명하실 수 있겠습니까?
Well, first I would point out that the fact that Israel's chief rabbinate recognized the Bnei Menashe is extremely significant. That is not something that happens every day or every year or even every decade. The chief rabbinate has recognized the Ethiopian Jews as descendants of the tribe of Dan, and now they have recognized Menashe as descendants of Israel. And that's it. So it's not something that happens very frequently. It's taken very seriously, and it was only done after an intensive study of the community, its history, its traditions, and its customs. Secondly, there is the genetic evidence, which indicates that they do have a Middle Eastern origin, which was surprising for many people to learn. And finally, the oral traditions that the Bnei Menashe have. You know, many people in the West have lost sight of the power and the significance of oral traditions. But many people in the East still understand how powerful and important those are. And it was those oral traditions and practices that the Bnei Menashe preserved for centuries, which also serve as evidence of their identity and of who they are. And the bottom line is, if they were not linked to the people of Israel, there is no way that the Israeli government or the chief rabbinate would allow them to come.
근데 이스라엘에는 샤베이 이스라엘만 있는 게 아니라 제가 알기로도 같은 일을 하는 주이시 에이전시라는 데도 있고 또 알리아 리턴 센터라는 단체도 있는 거로 알고 있는데 어떻습니까? 그 주이시 에이전시하고 알리아 리턴 센터하고 샤베이 이스라엘하고 차이가 있으면 어떤 차이가 있을까요?
So the Jewish agency brings people to Israel who meet the criteria of the law of return that I mentioned earlier. Anyone with a Jewish father or grandfather or any Jew. The communities that Shavei Israel works with, such as the Bnei Menashe and the Chinese Jews of Kaifeng, their Jewish ancestry goes back beyond a Jewish grandfather, so they do not fall under the criteria of the law of return. So the Jewish agency cannot help them. So we focus on communities, the Bnei Menashe, the Chinese Jews, and others, that are beyond the mandate or the scope of the Jewish agency.
인도에 있는 그 문하세 유대인들 꼭 이스라엘로 데리고 와야 되는 겁니까? 그냥 인도에서 계속 살게 하면 안 되는 건가요? 그들을 이스라엘로 데리고 오려고 하는 이유는 뭡니까?
No one is forcing or compelling them to leave India. It is their choice. It is their desire to return to the Jewish people and to make Aliyah. That is something that their ancestors instilled in them over the generations. I don't believe in forcing people to do something. It's not right to do so, and it's not effective either. There are communities in other countries that we work with where people do not necessarily want to make Aliyah, but they want to rejoin the Jewish people. so we help them to do so. But in the case of Bnei Menashe and the Chinese Jews, they want to come home to Israel. So we see our role as helping them to fulfill their dream.
인도에서 유대인인 것이 이제 확인이 돼요. 그러면 이제 그들을 이스라엘로 데려가는 작업들을 샤베이 이스라엘에서 하는 거죠. 어떤 과정이 이제 이어지는 거죠?
My organization operates two educational centers in northeastern India for the Bnei Menashe, where we help to prepare them for life in Israel. And when they are approved to make Aliyah, it is a momentous event for them. It means selling their property, leaving behind their jobs, their friends, everything they're familiar with, and going to a new country. Shavei Israel pays for their airfare and transportation. We bring them to Israel, and once they are in Israel, we also spend a great deal of energy and finances to absorb them in the country. We want them to succeed in Israel. We want them to feel like they are part of Israeli society. It is a challenge for anyone to be an immigrant. But at the end of the day, the Bnei Menashe know that with all the difficulties involved in making the move, they are blessed to fulfill the dream that their forefathers had hoped and prayed for.
인도에서 살다가 이스라엘 가서 잘 적응하면서 살던가요?
The absorption of the Bnei Menashe in Israel has been very successful, and that's one of the reasons why the Israeli government continues to give us permission to bring more of them to the country. The Bnei Menashe are religious people, very spiritually oriented. They're also very dedicated Zionists. All the young men serve in the Israeli army. Many of them volunteer for combat units. Young people in the community go to Israeli colleges and universities. A few young men have even been ordained as rabbis. And we are seeing a growing number of Bnei Menashe young people marrying native-born Israelis or veteran immigrants from other countries, which is the surest sign of acceptance and integration. So we're very proud of the community members. They're very hardworking people, and they have a strong sense of responsibility and of duty. They come to Israel because they want to help strengthen the country and build the country and settle the land.
그런데 이제 제가 알기로는 인도에 있는 그 므나세 유대인들 중에 많은 숫자가 기독교로 개종해서 기독교 신앙을 갖고 있는 므나세 유대인들이 많다라는 걸로 알고 있는데 그분들은 이스라엘의 그 귀환법에 따라서 기독교인이면은 이스라엘로 알리야하는 게 불가능하지 않습니까?
A century ago, when the British discovered the Bnei Menashe, most of the tribe converted to Christianity, and until today, for example, in the northeastern Indian state of Mizoram, 94% of the population is Christian, unlike the rest of India, which is majority Hindu population. But there was a small core group of Bnei Menashe who refused to abandon the ways of their ancestors, and it's that core group that over the past century grew to become what is now known as the Bnei Menashe Jewish community, which altogether, including the people who have made Aliyah and those who are still in India, numbers about 10,000. Judaism is not a missionary religion, so we do not go and try to convince Bnei Menashe Christians to leave Christianity. We respect everyone's right to choose their own path. So we work solely with the 10,000 or so Bnei Menashe Jews, because Israel is the Jewish state, and Jews have the right and even the responsibility to make Aliyah and to join the national Jewish undertaking of the state of Israel.
그러면 우리 기독교인들이, 한국에 있는 기독교인들이, 특히 이 브레드 TV 시청자들이 샤베이 이스라엘이 지금 진행하고 있는 인도 문하세 유대인들의 그 귀한 사역, 돌아오는 사역, 이 일들을 위해서 어떤 관심을 갖고 어떤 기도를 하는 게 좋을 것 같습니까?
I think that there are two main areas in which your viewers can help. The first is prayer. To pray for the return of the lost tribes of Israel, to pray for the ingathering of the exiles back to the land. I'm a big believer in the power of prayer. God has given each of us, whether you are a Jew or a Christian, He has given each of us this incredible gift that we can turn to Him at any time of day, any place, and ask Him to alter the course of history, and ask Him to plant it in the hearts of decision makers to make changes. So I would urge your viewers to pray for the speedy return of the lost tribes of Israel to Zion. The second area that people can be helpful in is financial support, because as I mentioned, to bring the Bnei Menashe back to Israel, like anything else in our world, costs money. And if there is not enough money available, we cannot bring the people. It is only through the generosity of people around the world that we are able to bring the Bnei Menashe home. It costs about $1,000 to bring one immigrant. On the one hand, $1,000 is a lot of money, but on the other hand, this is an opportunity to play a part in a miracle. This is an opportunity to be a piece of the unfolding of God's plan in this world. So I would argue that it's a very good spiritual investment for people to make, because we know from the book of Genesis, chapter 12, verse 3, God told Abraham, the first Jew, that He will bless those who bless you, and those who curse you will be cursed. So anyone who chooses to bless Israel by helping the people of Israel to come home are guaranteed to be blessed by the Lord, by the Creator and the Master of the universe.
2700여 년 동안 고향을 떠나서 남의 나라 인도에서 그렇게 오랫동안 살면서도 정체성을 잃지 않고 지금까지 살아온 그 유대인들, 그들이 다시 그들의 고향 이스라엘로 돌아오게 하는 그 귀한 사역을 하고 있는 샤베이 이스라엘, 이 단체가 앞으로 다른 어려움 없이 계속해서 그 사역을 잘 감당해내고, 또 인도에 있는 많은 유대인들이 이스라엘로 돌아오는 그런 날들이 빨리 오기를 저도 기대하겠습니다. 오늘 이렇게 귀한 시간 내주시고 저희 브레드 TV 스튜디오 방문해 주셔서 고맙습니다. 귀한 말씀 고맙습니다.